Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Moose Minute Project on a Wednesday morning with snow moving in. It is starting to shed little white stuff all over the ground here in Boscobel, Wisconsin. So welcome to the Moose Minute Project titled Management and Ownership. Like I told you yesterday, I got that rant off my and if you don't listen to me every day, it's okay. So ownership and management. So in the times we are in right now, being a salesperson, being an owner in a retail environment, there's a lot of unknowns in the general public. The general public also is struggling with where the world is headed. And as always in past times, anytime you had an election year, it always took time for things to straighten out. So, three things that you definitely don't ever talk about: religion, sex, and politics and sales. It just does not go well. And it's not going to go well, and you can't just say, well, that's tough. People are going to have to learn how to deal with it. In sales, that doesn't work. So, make sure you're not talking about those. As far as ownership and management goes, who works for who? Well, if you're sitting there in your upper office as an owner and you say everybody on this floor works for me and they need to remember that, you're headed down a long road of disappointment. As an owner, you should have the mindset that you work for them. You are working for your employees. And you want to make sure that your employees feel that. So do you know what's triggering your employees to perform the best? A lot of people say, well, yeah, it's money. It's not always money. It's not always money. It's being kept in the loop. It's being kept in the know-how of what's going on. And you're like, well, Chris, that's none of their business. It is a lot of their business, especially when I see multi-chain stores. Multi-chain stores tend to have that happen more and more. You can call them sister stores, you can call them family stores, whatever you want. But in order for that to work, they really need to know that you're on the same page as everybody else. You have to remember also that salespeople working at sister stores feel you're taking business away from them, especially if you're in close proximity of each other. You're taking money out of their pocket is how they feel. Yes, it may be right for the organization, but it definitely is making people feel like you're taking money out of their pocket, and especially during downtimes. If you're having a downtime and your salespeople are sitting there going, boy, this is the worst month I've ever had. This is terrible. And you may have you may have other opportunities with stores opening up, which is great. It means your company's growing. It means things are going well. But it may also have a severe effect on those people. So your manager at that store needs to be on top of their game of making sure that their staff is on the same page of, hey, we've got this. We're going to continue to do well. Let's make sure we're going there. Are you checking in daily? Are you checking in with your salespeople, with your managers, to know they have your back and to know they also know you are there for them? If you are isolated and you don't want to stick to fundamental ground rules, if you don't have a solid plan in place, it is going to be a long road to hoe. There's just no doubt about it. And if you don't have a manager that's making sure that they're following through, that their salespeople are following through with daily calls, with making sure they're calling people back, especially in the time now, we have lost the time. From what I see, and I see quite a few dealers in my realm, we have lost the time of people walking in and saying, that's what I want, I'll take that. They're back shopping again. They're back doing those things that money is now back to the driving force. And if that's the only thing you sell on is money and price, you're in a bigger problem. So, because there's nowhere to go. If you go straight to the bottom, I've had this argument since, let's see, I started selling in 05. Well, actually, I was a couple years before that. I was working at a small store at that point. But when I became a manager, I believe that was in 07. I was the assistant sales manager. If you are selling on price, and it has been in the power sports world, a race to the bottom for as long as I remember. Then when COVID hit, everything was basically retail or where it should have been. Was there some guys gouging it to maybe a little, but I don't think so. There wasn't as much money on the table as people think. There's not that much money on the table now as people think. You got to remember what it takes to run a business and run a power sports business. Of all the units there are not usually paid for. There's not very many dealers that can just pay for everything coming in. They're put on floor plan. You've got, 60 to 90 days now. It used to be you could have up to a year sometimes if you ordered a lot of stuff. But if you're going to take all rebates away and all that and get to the bottom to sell units because that's what you have in stock, yes, you're going to sell some stuff. There's no doubt. But you're also taking away value of your dealership. So make sure your salespeople are trained. They're doing their job as far as selling on the confidence of the dealership. If your salespeople don't have confidence in your dealership and they don't feel they're part of the dealership, they're just a tool there for you, that they don't have your support and vice versa, yeah, it's going to be tough. So to have a sales manager, to have a general manager and owner with your people's best interest. Remember, as an owner, you work for them. They do not work for you. You work for them. And they want to know that you are there for them. Do you walk around every day, say, hey, how are you? What's going on? Or if you hear bad news about an employee, do you walk in and say, hey, I need to talk to you. Come to my office. Okay. Usually you'll tell how your business is going if the owner can walk up to somebody and say, hey, I need to talk to you. Come to my office. 9 times out of 10, I bet, that employee goes, oh, crap. I am in major trouble now. Instead of, oh, yep, Bob's just checking in. So make sure your employees feel comfortable with that statement of, hey, you know what? I need to talk to you for a second. And when you talk to them, find out what's going on with them. As a sales manager, it was always interesting to watch somebody go up and down. You could usually tell something was going on in their life or anything like that, and you needed to check in on that. So that's where you got to be. Because right now, during this time of uncertainty, sales are going to slow. A, it's February. Sales are always slow. B, it's political. And that is where we are really struggling now because of the uncertainty. So now you have the political portion of it as far as an election year, recovery there, of seeing where financial things are going, and there's no real secure right now plan of our financial status in this country either. So that is all playing into whether they go spend 20 grand on a toy. Not necessarily, I would say 90% of the UTVs that we sold, or ATVs, are not needed. They're wanted, they're toy, they are handy, but they are not needed. We do not sell things that are needed. We sell things that people want to get away from. Boats, motorcycles, whatever it may be. So, how are you handling them? How are you taking care of your customers? Are you calling them back, checking in on them? How is their unit going? I belong to a lot of chats, based off of CF Moto, Polaris, all of that I sell because I'm looking for guys asking questions about turn signal kits. If you look on there, there's people asking questions of, how do you start this thing? Can I put it in 4-wheel drive if I'm running? Where do you check the oil? Where's this? Where's that? That is stuff that should have been answered at the time that they took delivery of their vehicle. How do you strap it down? I want to use my winch to, if you're telling people to use their winch to hold it down on the trailer, you're already started off on the wrong foot. You never use the winch to hold it down. Winches are meant for pulling power, not holding power. So you're just putting a lot of excess on there. CF Motos have a big problem if you put it in park, because some of their stuff in there is not built for that. Yes, it's put in park to hold it somewhere for a time being, but not to trailer it. Strap it down, make sure it's there, use the e-brake, whatever you need there, but do not leave them in park. Just kind of those things. Polaris Sportsmans, we had to tell people always to strap down their seats because you'll lose the seat. It's just a poor design. Take your time to go through with your customers. Is there any questions? Can we help you? It's not about a race of who to get the one out the door to get to the next one. So, as an owner, take your time to get to know your employees. Get to know what's going on in their lives. I struggled. I watched my mom pass away for 2 years while I was in a management role. I got the phone calls that she ran away. I got the phone call she was having major episodes, physicalities, argumentative. I had to deal with all that as a guardian, plus dealing with the work environment as far as a manager of a multi-million-dollar business. And yes, I screwed up a lot of things there. There's no doubt. I did not do my best work as a manager. And needless to say, we parted ways, just kind of a mutual parted way. I wanted more support, didn't have that. Not just necessarily with my personal life. My personal life I could handle. I needed more support in the business. So if you're seeing your managers, your salespeople, your parts people, service people, there's a lot of intricate environment there. And you cannot go through a business without having your parts department A+, and your service department A+. They have to be on top of their game. Salespeople definitely have to be on top of their game, but they have to work with parts and service to make damn sure you're getting every nickel that you can. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. And then you have to also have a sales department that's working with your finance department to sell extended warranties, to sell those kind of things, protective services. You have to have them believe in it, and that's where it's at. But the main one starts with ownership. If you're going to walk in and say, I own this place, and you're going to do everything I tell you to do, and then leave them in the dark, you have a major problem. They don't work for you. You work for them. So that is where, as managers, you need to get together. I'll bring up Hexco. Hexco Motorsports, I've watched their videos, I've watched them, and they have a monthly meeting with the whole store where all the managers are together, and you talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I've been involved in too many companies that don't want to focus on the bad. Chris, we're not talking about that. Let's just talk. We have to talk about the bad. And that's where things go sideways, is if you're not going to do that, you have issues. And it's just how it is. I work with a small company now, and Jacob every morning, Chris, how you doing? What's going on? Can you tell me what's going on with this or that? Yep. And quite honestly, Jacob works for us. And he knows in return, we are going to do everything we can to work for him. So that is how it's going to go. And like I said, it's that simple. And yes, the more dealers you have, the more employees you have, it's going to be up to you as an owner. And yes, I know. You're like, oh, Chris, that's a lot. I just can't. I'm going to leave it up to my general manager and my managers. Then you're going to have a problem. Because you don't want your managers talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. But yet they are. Trust me, if you don't think your employees and your managers are not talking about all that, whether when you're gone or whatever, you are sadly mistaken. And it is going to come out in their attitudes towards customers. It's going to come out their attitude in the public. Here's another key thing. Are they handing out business cards? Can you walk up to your salespeople and say, hey, where's your business cards? I need one. And if they don't have them on them, you have a major problem in the sales department. As a salesperson, I had 30, 40 of them in my truck. I had dozens of them in my wallet. Didn't matter if I was at Texas Roadhouse, at the mall. If I heard somebody talking about it, hey, if you're looking for your next UTV, ATV, snowmobile, motorcycle, get a hold of me. If you're looking for turn signal kits, get a hold of me. You have to have that. And especially in these times. Are you sitting on 150 snowmobiles right now because you're in Wisconsin? And, oh, by the way, this is our first snow go at it right now, is we're looking at maybe 9 inches here by Saturday. What are you going to do? Do you go to events? Do you go to places that people know? Everybody knew what I did for a living because I told them, because that was my livelihood. Did I get paid extra for the more sales? No. But I made damn sure I got a job. And if you're not 100% confident in who you work for and who's got your back, you're in trouble. If you don't have that confidence in all your employees, you're going to lose them. It's not, and don't feel like people are stealing them. Okay. People aren't stealing your employees. You're losing employees based on benefits, based on maybe it's pay, but most likely, I'm going to say right now, it's on treatment and the value they feel in that dealership. Give you a prime example, and Thad doesn't know I'm going to do this with RLK Guide Service, but here's where it is. We were up on Red Lake, Upper Red this weekend, all week. Wind blowing, feels of minus 20, a couple nights. Thad, the owner, and Noah, the owner. Thad for sure. I saw Noah on and off, but they've got upteen houses out on the lake, and Upper Red's pretty big. But the guys are, your guys that are checking on the houses, filling generators, doing all that stuff, are doing it right along with one of the owners, Thad. Thad's doing the same thing. Thad's doing the PR work also of talking to people, checking in with them, making sure they fish, and it may not be in person. Come Wednesday when we go to check out, here comes Thad with Noah and saying, hey, how was your stay? And I said, you know what, guys, I've never seen a group as good as this. They were phenomenal. They're on top of the game. They're on top of it. They believe in their boss. They have the support of their boss. And he knows without them, it's going to be a miserable day. So the last day, as we're leaving on Thursday, whiteout conditions, 35-mile-an-hour winds, feels like it's 22 below, 25 below, whatever it may be. And here they are. All the guys are lined up to escort us off the lake. Thad's in the middle of this line with a worker in front, worker behind. Noah's there. They're all working together. And they all have to move 8 houses that day in this temperature. And that's part of the job, but they also knew that their owner had their back, and he was out there being miserable with them. So that is the true sign of leadership. When your guys come in and say, hey, yep, I work for one of the, and he allows them guys to sit in the house for a second, and they're not sitting, they're standing, getting ready to go, but they fill the generator, come in, they hear fish stories, they're talking about good time. That's the kind of thing you want. And I don't care if you have 5 employees or if you have 105 employees, you need to make sure that people know you are working for them as an owner. So that's where it's at today. Told you I was going to spin it a little different today. I have been in retail sales of power sports until, well, let's see, March 24th of this year. I'll be at Kinetic for 2 years now, and I'm truly blessed to be here because of that scenario. I have a owner that has my back, but I also have his back. I will do whatever it takes to make sales work. And when you watch people leave and you go, boy, we just can't find help, we can't find help. There's help out there. And yes, don't get me wrong, some of the people out there looking for help want to get paid a ton for not doing a whole lot. But your past stories of employees that work there or past history of your business plays a lot of roles in that. So make sure you are taking care of your employees and finding out what makes them click, what makes them tick, and what makes them do everything they can for you. And Gary Vee sums it up best. You got to be able to hire fast, but fire faster, especially if you have cancer involved in the business. If there's a black cloud, you need to clear it out and make sure that it's gone, because that is going to affect it as well. So, again, have a great time. Truly appreciate everybody. Truly appreciate everybody tuning in. Yesterday's rant went off the rails a little bit, but I was tired about hearing about it. But yeah, so if you are an owner or a manager, please watch this whole video. Go back and watch it. I think it's very key details of what needs to be gone through. And we'll go from there. Like I said, it's snowing here now, so we're getting ramped up for spring, getting ready to sell a lot of ATV, UTV kits. I think we have 60 kits on order right now that I've got to try to get out the door here in the next few days. And that's a lot with a 5-man show and women, 5-man women show. So we are going to go from there. But with the times of turbulence, be patient, but also be proactive at the same time by making sure your employees are on board with you. Have a great day. Take time to bless somebody today. If you're enjoying the vacation and things like that, have a great time doing it. It was a great relief for me. Yes, I went to where it was a hell of a lot colder than it is here today, but that's where I have fun. I had a great time with the 4 guys out on the ice, and Isaac and them too. I got to have a little father-son time. It was very brief because he's a lot younger than his dad, and his dad used to do the same stupid stuff. So, but they had a great time. And I'm not saying it's dumb, but well, some of it was. We'll go from there. Have a great time. Wish everybody safe. Be safe today with the way the snow is coming. I'm guessing, who knows? Maybe somebody will get a day of riding snowmobiles around here. If we get the 9 to 10 that they're talking or whatever, we'll see if the forecast is true. But take time to bless somebody today. And thank you for tuning in to the Moose Minute Project. I'll be back tomorrow morning.